Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. Welcome to the February community call from ToolJet, where this is the place for for both sides, from ToolJet and from the community, as an opportunity for us as a two-way connect to learn from each other. Maybe in terms of this community call are majorly about for us to give us a possibility to explore and share about the coming releases, updates, and also we pick a key session on which we deep dive into specific topics on each month. Usually it will be at the end, but this time we got into the beginning. So yeah, thank you so much for joining us again, and I'll let Shubham to take over and then walk us through some couple of updates and releases that I had.
Yeah, thanks, Teja. Welcome everyone for the February community call. So we will quickly start with product updates, and then after product updates, we will build an app with ToolJet platform, which Teja will be taking over. So yeah, let's start with product updates. Cool. So as we know, we have released ToolJet 2.0 in January. And since then, we have been basically building more cool features to improve the products which we have released in 2.0. After 2.0, we release a major feature of called RunPy. So RunPy is like Run.js feature in ToolJet where you can run any Python code. In that Python code, you can run various mathematical functions, you can run various models and stuff so that you can use them to build custom experiences, right? Because most of the stuff in ToolJet is drag and drop, it's already wired, but if you still want to, improve the experience of those, customize those experiences, you can use Run.js and now RunPy as well, where you can write Python code. So we had released it in the previous version. Now in this version, we are going to release support to import and export external libraries. So basically now you can import famously used or commonly used libraries which are available in Python, stock Python, right? So those can be used can be imported normally like Python code, and you can use that. Right. The next feature is we have released a new component called bounding box. So bounding box basically means that it is a component where you can add any image and then you can label that image by creating boxes on the image, right? So this is basically will be used by ML engines or to create test data, training data for ML engines and computer vision use cases, right? So let's suppose you have added an image of an airport from the top and you can see various planes. So you can draw a box around a plane and mark it as a plane in the component, and then you can use this data to sort of feed it to any ML model which is sitting behind your API, right? So this component will be exposed to a lot of people who are creating training data or test data. So this is something we are very excited to release because this means that ToolJet will now be able to use in a lot of ML AI use cases as well, right? Next is plugin update. So we have many AWS plugins like S3, Ethna, a few DynamoDB, and couple of more which are in development. So in this plugin, we have added two more type of authentication. So right now we authenticate the resource based on access key and secret key, but we believe that that's not a very secure way to handle authentication because once we use access key and secret key, it sort of exposes the whole system to the user, right? Instead, if you want to create a more role-based kind of authentication where you are opening certain resources based on certain roles, then you can do that. You can also expose on the basis of instance profile. Instance, basically the instance on which ToolJet is setting, right? So you can use these advanced authentication methods, which are much more secure and viable for large companies, right? After that, we have released a small new feature called editor operation. So in ToolJet database, basically, in all the tables, you have a lot of data which you are storing. I believe a lot of you must have already used ToolJet database. So in that database, you can create tables. In tables, you can create data. So earlier, there was no option to edit a row of a table, but now that operation is also available. And one of the major updates is that we have this is more of a technical thing. So basically, we have upgraded the Node version to 18. So we are now on the latest version, one of the latest versions, and it's LTS, long-term support till 2025. So basically, we have upgraded to that, and it will help us, making our infrastructure more secure with Node upgrading a lot of things in terms of security, in terms of performance, and all those things, right? So support of the latest Node version is also a big achievement for us, since we have jumped from 14. It was a long stride for us, but we are finally able to do that. Very soon we'll be upgrading our React version and a lot of other dependency packages to give a more secure and optimized experience to all the customers, right? So yeah, almost everything is already released, but few of these features will be released in next release, which is coming tomorrow, right? So if you don't see any of these features in the current release, please don't think that I lied on the call. But yeah, it's going to be released tomorrow. So yeah, wait for it. Cool. Thank you. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to add it in the chat. Would love to answer.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Shubham. So these are the product updates. It's been a while, so we spoke about that, and these are the exciting things that are coming along. So wait for tomorrow to get them live on your ToolJet. So then, as we move on to the next thing about today's topic, as a key session is all about the customer satisfaction survey, and also looking about how you can track and also manage the customer satisfaction using ToolJet and nothing more. So we look at how we do it. So I have the apps ready to show you in the first place, and then see how we can build it step by step as we move on. Right? I'm going to show you a couple of apps here. So the first is actually basically the survey form, because how do you know about the customer satisfaction is usually the first thing that you get into your mind is the customer satisfaction survey, right? Moreover, of the less, the whole intention of customer satisfaction, to just give a glimpse about it, it's all about how you understand better about the customer in our perspective, like from the company's perspective or the organization perspective. But from the customer, these information and all of the data that they put into the form, or any of the initiatives that you bring on to understand the customer satisfaction, is more about the balance of what they're expecting and what the company had provided over the time in terms of features or efforts or support or whatever it is, right? So it's all about the balance, and then the customer satisfaction is moreover for us to learn, and also it's an opportunity for the users to express what is also essential for their parts, right? So this is a complete CSA, customer satisfaction survey form, which is built with ToolJet. And then in the backend, it uses ToolJet database, and all the databases, it just connects with the ToolJet databases and stores the information, whatever you give here, right? So this is a basic form, which takes a couple of fields about how likely you would be recommending us to others, and then a couple of feedback items in terms of design, usability, price, and another stuff, and any comments, and a couple of things about how hard it was to learn for you, and about the rivals comparison, how was the competitors are doing better than us or not better than us, and whatever. Then you hit submit, right? This is a simple form, but then it changes on your requirements, and based on your product and what you're looking for, these fields will be varying. And then, but the thing is, the whole intention is to present how you can build these things by yourself. So this is the basic customer satisfaction survey form. So and then you'd also think about how do we send this. You generally use your email clients which are already ready or previously used, but then if you choose to also stick with ToolJet for sending the emails as well, you can also build your own sort of sending emails to your customer as an email client with ToolJet by connecting to the email services. So you can select the group of product users or the product product users or the platform users, where it could fetch the information from different databases that you can connect with ToolJet. And then once you have them ready, you can write up your email and send it as a simple application for you. But then we'll not be building this thing in today's session. I have just created it for me to explore and look at show you a possibility that what you can also do with this, right? So an email sender would be helpful, but if you already have things ready for sending emails to your customers already, then that's a good go. Right. So we have the customer satisfaction survey, and then the real part comes in. And the interesting part is about looking at the survey results. So the first table you look at is a complete survey result that we gathered from different customers. So I just created some dummy data. You see the lorem ipsum. So it's definitely the dummy. So you have all of this data in the first table, and then you see that you would be able to calculate some metrics. I'm not showing usual generic metrics that you look at for customer satisfaction, the net promoter score, NPS, and the effort scores that are put by customers, but I'm just giving you a little easy to understand metrics. These are like average of recommendation rate that have taken from the recommendation that we have got from the overall, like the recommendation rate. So I just made an average. So the intention is to show you that you can actually grab the data and perform calculations with JavaScript or Python and present it in the front end. So it's same with the other thing. So you have the average satisfaction, usability, and the overall feedback is gathered in a different place. And then the other interesting part here comes is about the survey forms open status. So it's always the case that you send your customer satisfaction survey from your emails to your customers. But in order to look at if the forms are opened or not, usually you can do it with different services. But then here you can do it with ToolJet. How do you do it is something we'll also explore. So we'll be able to see who have had opened the emails, and then at what time they have opened, not emails, I'm sorry, the forms. So the form that you attach to the email and send it to submit the survey. So you'll be able to track it at what time they have opened it. And if you wish to add a couple of more columns or fields, it's up to you. But then I just want to show you how you can track that as well. So this is how you manage and learn from your customer survey data. And also you track it, how it is all going. Right. So we'll quickly jump in. We'll start with building this part first. The customer satisfaction survey part. And then once we are done with this, we'll jump on building the backend part on, what I mean by backend is more our admin panel that, brings the data and helps us to understand the survey results, right? So the very first step, I'll get into the ToolJet, app.tooljet.com. Maybe I'll go for different tab. Okay. Oops. All right. So once you land into the welcome screen, you just need to click on new app. And then here you are with the playground. And then you have, I hope you're completely familiar with this phase of starting to build application here. So you can title this up as a customer survey form, right? So ignore any typos or ignore any UI aesthetics parts of the application, because the previous app that you have seen is more or spend a bit of time to take care about the aesthetic part of the application. But now with a given time constraint, we'll go in a faster pace. So in which you must kindly ignore the typos or even the aesthetic part of it, even the alignments. Don't mind me doing some mistakes over here, but then the whole intention is to show you how things work and how we can build these things quickly and easily with ToolJet. So first thing, we'll go for a container to bring it on, to hold all of the other components. And also it acts as a good background for us to hold different components in a single page, right? So once we have that, we would need a text component here to actually title this up. So all of this something I can get these things ready priorly, but just wanted to do this on the go. Right. So you can change the styles to bold and then set it up to something around 20. Right. So you have this up here, and then you can have another component, another text component to give you some sort of a description about what this is all about. So how you do it, it's just the same way. You just need to drag and drop the text component and then add the data here. So then we'll have a divider as a page separation, which helps us to show some difference. There you go. So the first part, and then there are a couple of questions that I'll be adding here. So the first part, again, these are more or less all the text widgets putting out some data here. So the first question we'll be having here is how likely you would be recommending us. So you can click on the component and then you can type it up here and how likely you would be recommending us to others. So you can set it up to bold and then you can set it up to around 16 should be fine. All right. So then, yeah, now you can, set the field as a response for this as a star rating component. You can search for star rating. So you see the rating component that helps us to have the results captured in terms of ratings. So you can remove this up and then set the width and that part of it here. So more or less everything is drag and drop here. So you put the text on rating this in terms of how likely you like this. So you can set this to something around, calling it as unlikely. Or you can copy paste the same component and then present it to the right side and say that this is likely. Right, put it a bit closer. Okay, so not that close, but then yeah, ignore my aesthetics parts of the application. So change this to around 0 for the default value. So it will be the stars are 0, right? So there you go. And then we are done with the first component, the first field, which is about taking the rates on how likely they would be recommending us. So you can set it to lighter version just to show you that you can make it look good. All right. So I'll run through this on bringing a couple of other questions directly by just from the different app that I have. So you can have how satisfied you are. Are you satisfied with the following features? So then you will be having a couple of in terms of design, and then so these are nothing but all of these are actually the text components that are being written. This is usability, and then you can copy this and paste this the same, and they can change the text to quality. You can have another one. I just copy paste it. And then you set this to something like price. And you have one more, which can give you the data about the overall ratings. So the corresponding, ratings that can you gather from the same similar star rating component, you can copy this up and paste this again. Yeah, you can copy and click on here and paste this. Looks like I've been pasting it somewhere, but yeah, you can search for the star rating component and have it here. You can remove the select just star rating. There you go. So copy paste. One last one. I know it's taking a bit of time, but then look at how easily we are able to do to build the way we want. So yes, and you can set this default values to 0. So it can be done by setting the value to 0 here. Yes, you can do for the rest of these parts. And then you have another item to actually set about a comment section that allows the users to talk more about it. So if you can have it. So I'm just stopping here to look at any other questions, and also I'm also stopping the form to a limited section part of it so that it won't take much time on the designing part. So this will be text input, or you can take the text area part of it, then have it here, extend it, set it up there. All right. So you can take this up, remove all of this. So I look for any questions and see if we can talk about any of those. Yeah, I don't see any questions so far. But then if you have any questions, drop them in the chat box. And Shubham also is online, so he can answer them over the chat, or else he can take the mic, or sorry, take the screen and then start talking to you. Right. So we can have one more about the learning curve of the product. So you can set up about how hard it is to learn about the product. What did I do? Okay. Can increase the container size a bit. I can minimize this. I don't need the query panel right now. Looks like you got a question. Yeah, exactly, Jane. So the pace is going always on the top. Maybe Shubham can add some words on it if we plan to paste it in certain places. What do you think, Shubham? Do the paste should only go to the top left of the container always? You can remove the select your star rating and then set the size of this. Yeah, you can keep me engaged while I'm doing this with your questions. I'll be having fun while doing this, and you can have the text component again. But then, yeah, I can use the copy paste. Yes, as you said, I need to go to top again to grab it up for now. You say this as what we call as how hard it is to learn about the product. Maybe it's like very hard. Or you save this and say as easy. There you go. So maybe I can have one more last thing about anything that you would like to want to ask, or anything that they want to talk about it. So you can just have that one more last field. So once you have that, I'm going to copy this text area one more time and paste this so I can use it. There you go. Okay, so you have this thing ready. We have a kind of a simple form. Excuse me. So you have a simple form that collects the data from your customers. Here it is. And then let us add a last button for it to actually grab the data. So you can search for the button component and then put it up here. All right. And change the text on the button to send or submit. Submit should be more appropriate. There you go. All right, so the front end part is over. So I don't think I have taken much time to do this, but as far as I've done, it's the quickest thing I have done here. So possibly without caring about the beautiness, I've just created it on the go. And then now the part is the front end is ready. And then let's go for creating the database and connecting these values to the database. All right. So, and then we'll be using query panel here, but then to use it, we need a database to connect it. So we'll be using ToolJet database to do this. All right. So if anyone of you are following up along with me, it would be also helpful. So let us know if you got stuck somewhere. We'll be able to guide you on how you could continue doing this along with us. Right. So how do you do this? You just need to, first thing is to go create a database. Go ahead and app.tooljet.com. And then you should be able to get on to this welcome screen again. And once you are here, you go to ToolJet databases option here. And once you click on here, you should be able to create your tables. And then you should be able to start using it. Right. So for the tables, we'll be using a certain values, which will be aligned to what we have created. So all you need to do is to create, click on the add table. So then you should be titling the table first. The table name should be something like customer satisfaction results. So because the results are stored here, so I just named it CSAT results. So the first thing is by default is the ID, and then you can add another column saying these are all ratings. So I'm going to stick with the rate as the first word that represents this is a rating. So, and I have an underscore saying recommendation. Okay, so let's stick to varchar for this time, and I'm going to have the default value as 0 because this is a rate. All right, so then we have a rate about satisfaction. I'm just saying is sat, and then satisfaction in terms of design. So go for varchar, and this is going to be the 0 as the default value. So these are you create the fields or the columns of the database, and then you have another rating about satisfaction in terms of usability. So we'll stick with varchar, and the default value is 0. So a couple of things. And then we have a rate about satisfaction on quality. So we'll stick with varchar, 0. Satisfaction and price. And then we can have, let me check back what else we have. Price and overall. Yeah. So rate. I'm just going with separate columns for each of these fields. So if you have any logics that can help you to put in everything in a single row, super helpful. So on a easiest way that I could do, I'm creating different rows for each of these fields. All right. So what else we have? So we have a text area that should collect the data. So this text is about the satisfaction. So I'm gonna name this as a comment on satisfaction, and we're going to be varchar. So this is 0, and this is, I'm just leave it empty. So the next thing what we have is how hard was it to learn about the product, and it's a rating again. So we'll put the rate on learning curve. We'll go for varchar 0. So what do we have next? Anything that you want to ask? So a feedback as a thing. So comment and feedback. We'll put the varchar, and then, yeah, we're good. I hope I have not missed any. So we created rows, we created columns for each of these fields separately to collect them. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9. There you go. So we did not miss any. So then we have the name as CSAT results as the table name, and then the couple of columns here. So you click on create. This will create the table for you. There you go. You should be able to see the table ready up here, and then the separate columns are empty because there is no data filled up here right now. Okay, so now let's go ahead and connect this front end to this database. Okay, so how do you do it? That's where we get the help of the query panel here. So it's usually the same. So all you need to do, you get the query panel up, and then you keep an eye on the IDs of this star ratings 1 and the star rating 2, 3, and 4, and all of that. We'll be using them. So there you go. Where do you want to store this information? This is going to be storing on the ToolJet database here. So in the query panel, you can click on the ToolJet database. And then once you click on that, you should be able to see fields on what table that you have to select. So table name on this dropdown, you should be able to see the table that we just created, that is CSAT results. And then once you click on that, you should be able to see a couple of options to perform the operations on it. Right. So if you want to list any rows, list the rows of this table, you can click on this and the create row and all of that. I hope you're familiar with this, but if you don't, it's super easy that you to get into this as how I created a table and get onto here. So the operations is going to be creating rows. So I'm going to create a row on each submission. So on every time I click on the submit, I wanted to take these values on submission and store this into this rows of the table. Right. So click on create row as an operation. And then now let's add the columns. So the first column is going to be the rate recommendation. So this is the recommendation thing. So the value, the value of this particular column. So it's going to be the star 1 values of the star rating 1. So how do you access it? We'll go with this style again, double curly braces. This allows us to access the component data. So you can say components dot star rating 1. This is the ID of the star rating component. So you know it, right? So this is where you can see the star rating 1. And once you have that, you should be able to access the value of it by saying dot value. There you go. So this is how you access the value and store that into the specific column of rate recommendation. Okay. So another column, rate satisfaction in terms of design. So I can copy paste the previous one so that it would be easy for us. Oh, sorry. There you go. I'm going to say this the second ID. So then the other one is so these are all of this data that you see in the dropdown is coming from the database columns that we created, right? So all of this is here. So I hope you remember. Satisfaction in terms of design and satisfaction in terms of usability. Then it's going to be the same again, but then there is a change into the the component ID, which is going to be 1, 2, 3, and the next going to be the 4, the usability, and then we set to the quality. This is going to be 4. So to just check you, so require rate satisfaction quality. So this is the one, and you see the star rating. This is 5. Okay, there is one thing is missed. The 4 has gone somewhere. So I think it is in the price. Okay, we'll stick with 5 here, and then we'll go for price and set it 4. Okay, so then the next thing is the overall. So you click on that, and then you have this as 6. I hope I'm correct. Yeah, there you go. This is 6. All right. So the next thing is text area that people users type something for you to look at. So then the column name is going to be the comment satisfaction. This is the one. So I'm going to say this as a components dot text area 1 dot value. Text area 1 dot value. There you go. So what's next? So we have one more field, that is how hard it is to learn about the product. So this is about the learning curve. So the rate that took the learning curve, and then we put this the same components dot star rating, and this is star rating 7. So 7 dot value. Okay, so the last field, this is going to be a text again. So it will be the last one, comment on feedback. So we'll access this by components dot text area 2 dot value. All right, so it has a default text, I think. Okay, so let me save this. I can create, I can click on the create to create this query. So this got saved. All of this columns data is now connected to the database from this data, which passes from here, and then it saves to the database. So let me name this a bit. So you can say that save data, and you can click on create. Okay. Sorry. There you go. So we created the whole front end first, and then we connected the database. And the one last thing that we need to do to get this done, we need to connect this submit button to run this query on click. Okay. So save DB, save to DB. Okay, it got saved. All right. So let's go ahead and connect this button. On click on this button, it should take these values and then save to the database, which means I just need to connect this button to this query. That's it, right? So the moment I click on this button, it should go ahead and run this, execute this query, which performs all of that. All right. So I just need to click on this and go to the events. The moment I click on this, so on click is the event. So then the on click, I'm going to go and run a query, and the query is saved to DB. All right. So there you go. Let me do it with some data here. So I click 5 stars here, and I can give 1, 2, 1, 4, and overall just some sample data to present. And then we have it as 1, and then we said all good. Keep the good work. So the moment I click on submit, let's look at the database here. So it's empty at this moment. So the moment you click submit, it should able to show you that it has run the query. It shows here the query is run and the save to DB has completed. If you go here and refresh the page to show the database which got saved, you should be able to see the data got saved here, which has an ID, and each of this is going to be a different column. So I hope you understand how we connected these things. Just as straightforward as it is, you builds up and connect to the database. And now this is all about how you create a simple CSAT, the customer satisfaction form, and then you wish to have any of the fields that you wish to. But for the demonstration purpose, I'm just considering a few things. So there you go. So we are done with the step 1 on creating the form and saving things into the database. We'll jump on to the next part on creating a admin page for us to look about this data and screen through it, and also understand for us and perform some calculations to look at the results on average, average of this, all the satisfaction rates. So we can do all of that in the next part. But then I'll pause for a while and see for any questions, and then address along with Shubham. Oh, still, I don't see any questions. But then, yeah, I'll continue moving ahead for the step 2. But then if I see any questions, I'll pause a moment, and I'll also have Shubham to talk about this. Oh, yes. Yes, Richard. So Richard was asking, does anything need to be done to send it out to external users? So yes, you need to release this application, and you need to release this. I'm not doing it right now, but you just need to release this and make it share, and then you need to make this public. But then there are some constraints by setting to the ToolJet database at this point of time. You should be able to do things almost, but then if you had to choose your database for storing the information, then if you don't choose to stick with the ToolJet database for any reason, you can go ahead and add another data source and connect to any of your data sources. You can connect to DynamoDB or MongoDB or Postgres or any of the databases, and then just do the same thing as how we did here. Maybe it kind of changes a bit, but the whole context is the same. And then you can release this and then share this, make it public. So make application public. Once you turn this on, you can change the what we call the IDs here, and then get on to the next thing. Right. So one more thing before we jump on, there is one thing that we need to look at is about how we can track if a person or the user opened the form or not. So now let's not call this an application. This is going to be a complete form for us. So now we'll use this URL, which is here. Sorry. So this is the URL which we'll be using. Yeah, this is the URL. We will use this URL. We will be using this URL to send it to your customers. Right now, this is a form URL. All right. Now, the important part about this is about how you track whether this form is opened or not. Right. So let's do that. How you can do it is by accessing the parameter values. I'm going to show you a simple hack that I think you will like it. So for that, the information should be stored first. So let's create a new database for that to store that information. So I'm going to go create a new table, which is saying about CSAT opening track, maybe CSAT open data, open data. Okay, pardon my naming things, but then yeah, let's have this 2 fields. One is about the email address, which email got opened, or the UID. Okay, let's put it as UID, the unique identifier of this particular customer. And then let's set the value to be varchar, and it can be empty for now. And then the next field that you can have it as date and time. Okay, so it can be varchar again. Okay, so we have the 2 fields in a new table. This is going to be the data stored for those who open the survey form. Right, you have the UID and the data time. So you saved it with the title as CSAT open data. I'm laughing at my naming, but then yeah, you can create this. Once you're done, you should be able to see that there is a new table, which is empty for now, which has 2 fields, UID and date time. So yeah, let's go ahead and see how you can track this. All you need to do is to go here, and then you should be creating a new data source. It's going to be ToolJet database again. And now let's go ahead and select the table, the new table that we created, the CSAT open data. Right, you click on this, and then you make an operation, which is going to be creating a row again the same way as how we did previously. So the columns that we are going to select is the first is the UID. So the next column is going to be the date time. Okay, so I'm going to tell you the second column, which is date time. How do you track this? You can use the moment library that we have inbuilt, ready to use. So you can say moment, and you can call this function to grab the current date and time the moment it got executed or the page got launched. So you will get the date and time of this moment. So then you save that into the date time. But then how do you save the UID of the specific customer? So that's where you actually access the globals. So you can go for global, sorry, if you go to the inspector and you see that there is globals and URL params, right? So if I just show you that, if it has, the URL has a, what we call a a parameter which has a UID is equals to something like my email. So if this is the parameter which is appended to the URL, so this will be displayed to here, the URL params, right? So I did not reload this, but then the moment I reload this, you'll be able to see it here. But then let me put it here, params, globals.url params.uid. Okay. So let me save this first and show you how that works. So this is going to be save the opened. Maybe save open customers. Okay. All right. So it got saved with the new name. Now what we're going to do, if you look at the moment, it's here, and then you see the parameters, it's currently undefined. But the moment I refresh this page with the UID appended here as UID is equals to my email address or your unique customer ID. And the moment I refresh, oh, sorry, I need to append the UID is equals to, and then hit enter, right? So you should be able to access this here now. So the moment I go to save to DB or save open customers, so you see that moment has the date, and the moment you have this globals, you see my email address here, right? So at the end, you need to append a parameter, which is up to you. Maybe it's your customer ID of your customer or any of the personal information of this email address or any of this. You just need to append this ID, UID at the end and send it to your customer to open this form. Right. So for easy to understand, I appended my email address, but you can have your customer ID here and then append this and send this complete URL. Maybe you can shorten this if you wish to. Yes. So you just need to send this to your customer, and the moment they save this, open this, you should be able to save this information to the database. So you just need to save this, run this query on application load, and then save this again. All right. Okay, so let's test this right away. So I'm going to copy the URL and open it in a new tab with a UID, which is going to be, my ToolJet email address, Teja at tooljet.com. Okay, so I'm not going to execute the form. I mean, I'm not going to submit the form. I'm just going to open this application with a UID into it. So I just open this. And there you go, it got executed. Let me go back and see my database if this got recorded. So CSAT results and CSAT open data. There you go. So this is the CSAT open data. If you look at that, I did not fill anything. I just opened this, and then you should be able to see the URL. It got tracked, the date and time of what moment the URL is opened and who opened this, the UID. It can be anything in your case. There you go. So the part one is over, but I would like to pause a moment again and look for any questions, because there's something we add as a parameter and then grab the data and save it into the database, right? All right, good. I'll continue on to the next step. So next is going to be something we are going to build an app. So this is what we're going to build next, where we have all the results that we gathered from the form into a table of form here, which includes the rate recommendation and all the complete feedback that you can look into. And then you have the comment and all of those comments in one place. And then you'll also have the survey form opened by folks. So who opened these forms at what time, and then a little bit of calculation, and then we bring all the overall feedback at one place. Okay, this is what we are going to build. If you're aware how do you do this, you're good, but I'm anyhow going to build this. So keep your keep your curiosity on. Okay, let's go ahead and create new app again. New app, and let's start with the by the table form. So we're gonna have a table to present all the customer survey results. Sorry, the satisfaction CSAT results. So you have this here, And then we need to have a couple of things. What are they? Yeah, there's two components to show the average of the recommendation and the average of the satisfaction usability. Let me get the front end ready first. So for that, I'm using a container here to present those things. There you go. Copy paste. Yes. Oh, it got pasted inside. Okay. So you have this thing here, and then you need, what I have here is another container on top of is a list view. Okay. So for that, before I have to have a text here, which I can set it to the center alignment, go to styles and set it to center. And then you have another text which shows the value here. Okay. So put it up to center again. We'll put the value here. So you can just say val. We'll update them as we move on. So you can have as many as metrics that you wish to, but I'm just sticking with a couple of. Okay. I need another container, which will be from here to here. And then I'll put a list view here. I would not need my query panel. Okay. So we'll say comments. You can title as it required relative to your field value, but I'm just putting it comments for now. I can set it to bold. And now I'm going to have a list view that brings and presents all the information here. Okay. So we'll set it to the field and then we'll set the data later. So we have got the comments field ready. And now let's go ahead and add one more thing. There's going to be another container within it. And then there will be a table inside of this container. All right. So you bring it up to the bottom. And then this is going to be people open the forms. Opened by customers. Okay, so set it to center alignment. Yeah, here it is. And now I'll make it a bit bold. Okay, so how do you present these things? I'm going to use a table for that. I'll present the information in the table format. All right, so looks like the UI is ready. And then let's get on to actually complete filling these values into it. So the first thing is setting up this information. The whole information of the survey data will be here. Okay, so the first thing is to fill up this table with the information that we gathered from the survey forms. Okay, click on this. Open up your query panel now. So enough with the container components and all of that. Let's go and connect this database and fetch the information and present it to the components. Or once you open the container, go ahead, select the ToolJet database because we used it to store the information. So CSAT results, the customer satisfaction results. Once we have that, we're going to list row now. And then we can just click on preview to just check the data if it is coming. So there is one thing that we created. There's only one row. So it just shows only one object with the values inside it. So you can name it as get data, gets survey data. We can create this up here. All right. So you can also make it run on application load, which means on every time you refresh or you load or open this page, the first thing, or naturally it runs the query. So once you save this, so you just need to connect this up here, remove this dummy data, and now say queries dot get survey data dot data. Let me run this and see if that fills up the data automatically. There you go. So now you have got to see the data here. Did I miss something? Let me run this again. There you go. Okay. So you have the ID, which we had coming from the database, and the recommendation rate of 5, 2, 2 and all. And then you have some comment, and then we have some comment here that is just showing up here. All right. So currently the data is limited here. If you wish to remove any columns, you can click on these things and then go to styles and then change this to borderless or anything that you wish to. So we don't need any search bar for this. You can just disable, enable sorting, show download button, and you can just remove any of those things that you don't need to use. So show update buttons, show filter buttons, and then I can remove the search bar. So it gives us more space to present the data, but for now we don't have much data to present here, only one row. We can fill that up and check it coming back to the admin panel here. So this is the first step. We are good with this, and then let's go forward. And then let's go ahead and what we can do is stick with showing only the comments here. Okay, and then we get into the calculation part here. So what you need to do is to click on the container, the list view thing, and then set the data from queries dot get survey data and data here. So once you have that, so I'm going to remove, I don't need an image here, and I also don't need a button here. All I need is a text component from top to the bottom. Okay, so the what row I would like to show here is something like I can present comment feedback. All right, so look at that. We're going to present the data, the comment underscore feedback column to here. Okay, which only shows that specific column, comment underscore feedback. There you go. If we have had a couple of more data points here, you will be able to see a list of items showing up different comments at one place. We look at them, we'll go ahead and create some dummy data at the end. But then yeah, we grabbed all the data into one place, and then we had all the comments in one place. And then let's go ahead and perform some calculations here before we jump on to connecting to this database. Okay, so what we're going to do here, excuse me. So we're going to look at one thing. So we'll just focus on one column here, which is going to be this one. So we'll stick with the rate recommendation. But for that, to perform some calculations, we do need a couple more data points here. So let's quickly create some data here. You can click on this, and then let me add ID to that so that it will be also helpful for us to track it up. Okay, where is it? Okay, I'm going to copy this, open this in a new tab, add some UID is equals to pen at, I don't know, something.com. So there's some UID I'm giving so that it also shows the information the other side. So, oh, I opened the different URL. I'm sorry. So I need to open this thing. So, okay. So let's go ahead and fill these values now so that it creates a data point for us. Okay, there was a UI breaking here, so don't mind it. You can fix this just by extending the component width to it, and then this can be anything wish to write, and you can copy this paste and a couple of times. Yeah, cool. You submit this up. You can submit this, paste this up here to just present it. How does that looks? So I'm going to set this to one value. And then this is to 1 star. I'm just setting the data here. So you click on submit. Yeah, I hope this brings up some data to show. There you go. So let me refresh this, and then you should be able to look at some data populating on the tables and the list view as well. There you go. So we got a couple of data points here, which shows us some information. And then here as well. So we have a couple of comments here so that you can look them into specifically. Yeah. So then let's perform some calculations. Let's do the average on rate recommendation. So let's grab 5 plus 5 plus 3 divided by 3. This is what we are going to do. We'll just collect these data points from the JSON data, and then we'll calculate the average accordingly. How do you do it? You're going to go create a new query, which is going to be, again, getting the data first. So you can click on CSAT results, and then you get the list rows, and then you should be able to perform enable transformation. So once you click on that, you should be able to just get some information on that. On with that information, you should be able to actually make some calculation here. So what I'm doing I'm just writing some basic JavaScript to perform the calculation by enabling the transformation. So the moment I get the data, this data will be stored in the value data. So the data, what you see here is the complete JSON, which comes from the database. So I'm taking the length, I'm writing a loop to perform the calculation on average. So I'm just adding that up, making it to ints and taking those values and then making an average by total divided by the length of it. Okay, and returning the average. All right. So I'll just quickly preview this so that we see what it gets. So this is 3. So this is about 5 plus 5 plus 3 by 3. Okay. All right. So once you have this, so you can just name this up, saying that average of rates recommendation. All right. So you can also run this on page load and save this up. Okay. So then here you put this as average of recommendation rating. So to fix this up, you just need to extend these things and set it up. Okay, the value is going to be coming from the query. Queries.average recommendation rate dot data. There you go. Data here. I think I missed something. So let me run this. Recommendation data. There you go. You see the 3 is here. So you can also put some loading states by adding up here that's saying that queries dot average run rate dot is loading. Once you put the is loading thing, now you should be look at how it comes. So I'll just show you by just refreshing this page. The moment I refresh this, you should be able to see that there will be some loading state happening here to present the data. There you go. So then once the query execution got done, you should be able to see the value up here. All right. So here again, let's repeat the same thing. I'm going to take the usability as a part. So this thing, rate of the satisfaction in terms of usability, I'm going to take 2 plus 5 plus 2 and then divide it by 3, the number of data points we have at this moment. So I'll name this as average user satisfaction with respect to usability. Okay. So you can set these things. I'm just sticking with a few things here, but it's up to you on what sort of metrics that you would like to look in and measure as you go on. So this value is going to be, again, let's create a query. I'm just showing you as I repeat the process, you'll be able to connect it to it better. So you can do all of this in a single query as well by just not making a couple of multiple requests to the database. But the intention is to here to show you twice or thrice so that it gets much better. So let's name this as average of satisfaction with usability. There you go. So again, we'll be using the same code here, but with a different value in it. So let's take this. Oh, this need to be changed. I think I went on the flow. This is going to be rate satisfaction usability is what we used previously. I'm sorry, I did not perform the calculation well. So yeah, rate recommendation is something we have to look at here. Okay. I wish any of you would have told me that thing. So this is 4.3333. I couldn't make the calculation on the go, but then yes, so I could correct this. Hope you could able to connect with this. So then get serve we'll need another query to perform this set this value. So it's going to be list rows, and then we'll use this, but this time the column is going to be rate satisfaction in terms of usability, rate underscore satisfaction usability. Create this. Yes, I can share this application with you, so you can quickly, paste this, or I can share the export of this application so that you can import and start using it. I will change this name to rate in terms of satisfaction and usability. So I can save this. Oh, I missed to save this again. Sorry. Rate satisfaction usability. There you go. It got saved. I want to run this on query on page load and save this again. So let me connect this value to here. So now you should be able to see something like the previous value. So queries.average, queries.average satisfaction usability dot data. Let me run this. You should be able to see the value up here and coming here. Or maybe I need to make some improvements here to get it up there. Or am I missing something? Okay, what am I missing? List rows. Okay, I selected a different database here. So you must select the CSAT results here. So save this and run it again. 3 and then run it now. USABI LITY. Let me know if any of you spot what I missed there. So it could also preview as it is 3, which is need to be shared here. So let me type this queries dot average satisfaction usability dot data. Okay, it worked. Got fixed up. There's some issues with the loading states, but then there you go. You're almost here. All we need to do is to one last thing is to set this table with the new data. Okay, let's go ahead, create another. You can save this up here. So create a call to the ToolJet database, which is going to be the open data, and then list rows, and then preview. We should be able to see who are all opened this data, and then you can save this as open data and then create. You can also save this on page load and then save it again. There you go. Let's connect this table to that. You can click on this and just go up here and remove the duplicate data and just say queries.opendata.data. Let me run this now. There you go. So I don't need an ID here because I have the UID. So that now the application is ready. There you go. So you have all things here, all the survey data that you could able to look at in one place. You can change these views as per your comfort, as per your comfort, and then you can have these metrics loaded up here as needed, and then all different comments at one place, and you can see who opened these forms at what times, and then you can track all of this at one place. There you go. Exactly. So we started. I don't think it had taken much time. So probably I think it had taken around 40 to 45 minutes, if I'm not wrong. But then you're ready with all your CSAT application with the form and the ability to track it, the responses and the open rates, and also some calculations that you wish to do. You can also do some interesting calculations or metrics here. You can calculate NPS, the Net Promoter Score of your product, by looking at some formulas and doing with the JavaScript here. So, but if you get too stuck anywhere, you can join us in the Slack. You can go to tooljet.com/Slack. There will be a general channel. You can put all of your questions and wherever you got stuck, and detail your give a brief about your question and also your problem and the issues that you're facing, so that the whole team is always active to look at your problems and also give you some help to get them done. There you go. So we had done with the form. We have done with the admin panel here. You could also look at another use case that I have told you priorly. You can also send an email builder that you select different groups of emails and then write your email here and then send it. But you need to connect to our SMTP, so or any of your mailing services, and then get it done. There you go. I look for. I don't need to pause because we're all done with this. So we created all of this what we thought for today. So let's go for Q&A part and see if there is any questions and then address them accordingly. By the way, you're open to talk by unmuting yourself. So if you wish to talk anything, you can unmute it and start talking. I hope you have the privileges to unmute, but let me know if you don't. I can give it to you.
Hi, Teja. Thank you. This is Gokul. And thank you for a wonderful presentation. And we got to understand ToolJet a lot better. One use case which we have been looking at is, can you hear me?
Oh, yes. I can hear you. I'm just waiting for the gossip. Yeah.
Good. So one use case we are looking at right now is it's a Next.js based front-end build. And can we kind of embed it and kind of can we share the authentication and those kind of things, right? Can we wire it together for a custom built JavaScript application and ToolJet to work?
Okay, so if I understood your question correctly, so if you wish to have the ToolJet application embedded into a Next.js thing, yes, you can do it. So there is an option to actually embed this application. I'll just quickly show you how do you also do that. I hope you can see my screen. So
Yes.
just get into this application. The moment you click on the share button here in the top right, so you should be able to see, getting iframe here, right? So you can use this and put it up your Next.js or any of your applications, and then start, embedding into this app into your Next.js app or Nest anything. So in terms of authentication, there is a couple of other opportunities to get through this, because ToolJet is open source. If you get into GitHub, you get the whole code base. You can also get into self-host version of this. So once you get into self-host version, you can put your wish of any sort of authentications in the front, right? So that is one possibility. And then if I could tell you a bit more, if you the way how you looked at is having the ToolJet application embedded into your coded or built application with Next.js, but there is also another opportunity to use custom components. So if you look at this another new component called custom component, where it will help you to code your own component. So it's very much true that all the needs are very unique. So not all the components can help you all the time. So you would need your own component for your own purpose, right? So in which you can actually start writing React.js here and have your own component right from here. So you can start writing your code and then set it up your own component and then start using the same way how we did so far. So this is one flexibility that you can also look at when you look at doing in code wise.
Can we, if that's the case, can we export this whole application as a React component and use that React component inside of the next application rather than using an iframe?
I don't think it is possible right now. So I understood that you would like to export this whole thing into React in a more way. It's like,
so it kind of becomes seamless, right? It can go both the ways.
Yeah. We support exporting this application into JSON. So if you look at, you can export this application right now in terms of, like, I did not name this, but this is the app. You can click on this and then say export app. So the moment you export, you have the versions here. You can click whatever the version you choose and then export selected version. So what it does is this now exports and gives you a JSON thing. So it gives you a JSON file in which you can import this into another ToolJet account, right? So, but not as a different seamless as you think what you said. That's, I mean, we are too far from that, but I got to learn from you what you just asked.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks. Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, sure. Farhan was asking, have you heard about Metabase? Not sure, Farhan. Maybe you can help me understand. I'm not sure. By the way, Gokul, if you have any further questions, maybe you can put them into the Slack. Maybe I understand that you would get to think more outside of this call and then you would like to ask us. So in that case, you can get into the Slack and then ask anything there.
Sure, we'll do so. Thank you. Is there a Slack channel you have on your website?
Yes, you can go to, or you just need to go to tooljet.com/Slack. So this will get you to the right place.
Got it.
Okay, we can create analytics dashboards from Metabase. Okay, so if your question is about if you wish to embed directly into our app, so ToolJet can do the same. And embed directly into our app, so ToolJet can do the same. Farhan, I'm having some difficulty to understand here. Embed directly into your application, so ToolJet can do the same. Okay, so in terms of combining into two different things, but what I can tell you is ToolJet can listen to certain events here. So if you'd like to have ToolJet embedded into certain places of different applications, ToolJet has this ability to listen to any of the data incoming to the app, or to a certain events that can listen and perceive the information, and if you can perform any operations as needed. Okay, so previously we got disconnected with Chatbot, so we were able to embed that, and then we listen to the Chatbot data. It's a it's a ticketing tool where it provides us information about the customers, and then we have the data inside this app and perform some data. So it's a kind of connectable in that sense. So I'm not sure if it can be if it's the same with Metabase, but we can look into it more or less. But you can embed ToolJet anywhere needed. I'm not sure about working in the other way around. Okay, thanks, Farhan. All right, so any more questions, or you're open to talk to by unmuting? Yeah, Farhan, and also it's the same with you. You can join the Slack once and elaborate your question detailedly. You can just get into tooljet.com/Slack, and then just post your question. We'll figure out and try to understand the question better, and then respond to it appropriately as needed. Awesome. If there are no questions, we are good. Thank you so much for listening to me, and thank you so much for joining us. And we'll be keep doing these sessions as we move on. Thank you for all the interesting questions. And also, if you think we should talk about anything specific in our next community call, which will be probably in the end of March. So this call is supposed to be happening on the end of February, but we pushed it a bit, so it got it to happen in the first week, which is 2nd March. So let us know if you should present something interesting in the next community call, or we'll go with this generic style of we choosing the topics. Or if you choose to talk in your community calls, it's always open. So again, go to Slack, present us or DM a couple of us, any of us, and you'll be able to present in our community call. We highly encourage if you wish to present in the community calls as well. So thank you so much again. Thank you for joining us. We'll look forward for joining you again and hosting you in the next community call. Bye bye.